I've been dealing with like so many different things over the course when Mr. Lasky called me to come down and talk. Didn't really know what to talk about because it's really broad. The industry is just, there's no real set knowledge base that's been built to try and support or train or have anybody learn about the aspects of the industry that I deal with. To kind of start, basically just from where I started, because I was just an individual that really didn't know much about electronics. I sold them for 8 years, 10 years, Radio Shack, Sprint, Singular, selling cell phones, things of that nature. So I knew the profitability of putting it out there and people using it, but I had no idea what to do with it afterwards. So the main step that kind of fueled me to make this shift to create my company or create an idea that I could actually harness something like this, I got laid off from a job, and I had to kind of support my fiance and my son, and in order to do that, I had to, of course, make some money. So from that point, I was sitting at my kitchen table in my apartment, and I remember looking down at my cell phone and really looking at it and thinking, like, what can I do with this? I know that I can sell it, sell it for different companies, but what can I do with it as far as with the reverse aspect of it? And that's where Google came into play. I spent countless hours every day researching what's the best way, what's the material that's in here, how does it need to be processed, who needs to process it, what type of facilities that need to be in order to be able to process something like this. And over the course of the 8-month period, I was able to figure out everything pretty much I needed to know, plus do a little bit of background, covert ops, I guess, calling some bigger facilities to kind of pick some knowledge from them. And I was able to kind of put together my business model, which is being able to serve the community with pickup and drop off, which is a lot of companies in California are actually doing what I'm doing right now, where they're offering services to companies and residents where they'll have a drop-off site. You don't have to go to a electronics drive and wait there for 2 hours to be able to get rid of the stuff. There's actually facilities that you can go to and just dispose of it, just like we kind of implemented here. A lot of aspects of what I actually do is high manpower. So a lot of people that are actually, the companies that are going to be coming along later on in the future are going to be hiring a lot more. So this industry is a high growth industry for sparking employment, sparking the economy, and the revenue generated from the type of materials that I deal with can pretty much almost propel us to a future where we do have a lot of job creation. So I do not I don't think of another company coming in under me or beside me as competition. There's tons and tons of this stuff all over the world. And there's a lot of it concentrated in our communities still. Putting this law in place as far as with Illinois is helping us push towards a cleaner, greener future, of course, but also being able to help create more job growth as different people come along. Even the mundane, you know, the scrap guys that scrap metal and all that stuff. Eventually, these guys are going to start picking this stuff up too, and be able to generate some money for themselves on the side of whatever job they have. Let's kind of get back to what my company is. Again, I do pickup, drop off. I have those options. I'm available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 at my shop on Ridge Street. It's 415 Ridge. We do a lot of, when we get computers in, we do data destruction on all the memory, any hard drives that we get in. We data destruct those with software that we purchased. And we also issue certificates of destruction on any of those hard drives. So if there's companies that need to dispose of hard drives that have sensitive information on it, we're able to do so. Of course, we're still small. We're planning on bridging out and being able to gain more certificates so that we can certify ourselves under DoD standards and also some international certifications for our facility or and our operations. So there's a lot of things that we need to kind of get ourselves get to a point, because we're still new in the game and new in the industry. But everything looks really good as far as what we can offer to businesses and residents, and we look forward to having a really good future here in expanding and hopefully being one of the major guys that's able to kind of channel some of this stuff into the right channels for recycling and processing. The next steps, because I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions, and whenever I come out and kind of talk to people, I like to answer as many questions as possible. So does anybody have any questions right now about electronic recycling?
Yeah, thank you for being here. And I've heard your pitch in other places like Growth Association. I really admire what you're doing for the community. If I bring something to your facility, is there a fee to me for dropping stuff off?
This, with the guidelines of the law, there's two different patterns, well, two different angles that we kind of work with, and that's with any facility. There's the commercial side, and then there's the residents. Under the laws, dealing with residents is completely different from dealing with companies, and so is the material, how it actually it channels in. So from you come in as a resident, you have a TV, you have some other things. It's completely free. I open my arms to whatever you have, regardless of whatever it is. To a company, it's a little different, because that material cannot be processed the same way, or it can't be cataloged the same way. So there is a fee, because there's a fee for my facility to be able to process corporate material. And mainly it's just monitors, which are the big huge CRTs that are lead-based, so those have to be processed. But for all residents, it's completely free, and depending on the size, we can come pick up if you're not able to drop off. But there is a fee associated to pick up, and it's usually around 10 to 20 bucks, just depending on your distance. Helps them pay for gas.
Is there a fee for?
Yeah, if I bring in a PC, you give me a certificate the hard drive's been destroyed.
Yeah. For residents or commercial, it's just whoever would want one, we can definitely supply it. Basically, it takes us about because we're kind of backlogged because we have a lot of hard drives that come in. And it takes about an hour to wipe and destruct each drive. So that gives us about like 4 weeks or whatever, and then we mail out the certificate of destruction and all that for the drives. Yes, you have.
What about batteries?
Batteries? That's a good question. The alkalines actually are toxic, as well as all the other rechargeables. And a lot of people, they just kind of throw away the alkaline batteries. And I have not, honestly, to be honest with you, and a lot of other recyclers do not have avenues for getting rid of alkaline batteries. It's kind of crazy. Besides going to Radio Shack, and they have kind of partnerships with, I guess, companies that make the batteries. But any rechargeables we can get rid of. Nickel cadmium, nickel metal hydride, lithium ion, cell phone batteries. We can get rid of all of those, no problem. And even, of course, the lead-based batteries too. That's kind of the key point of the batteries. Does anybody have anything else? Yeah.
On the commercial, is it a flat amount, or is it vary based on what they're picking up?
It varies on the televisions or computer monitors that you guys have. That's the only fee that we really have, as opposed to, of course, a fee for us to come out, and that's ranges around like 20 bucks, $10 to $20 still. So that's the only difference in the pricing that we have set for dealing with commercial clients.
Do you still have a partnership going with places that take cell phones in?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
That is one of my first leaps into getting into this industry was the partnership I made with Bank of Edwardsville, which they were able to allow me to have a little bit of space in their lobby to drop a cell phone bin. And we've been doing that for, I'd say, about a year and a half now. And we've collected probably about, over that time span, it's not a lot, but it's around 400, 500 pounds of phones through that we're able to kind of divert back into the recycling stream. And we kind of tag on a lot of, we do a lot of fundraising from that aspect for having all those bins. Our most recent partnership was over the holiday season. I don't know if you saw it in the paper, everybody was kind of figuring what they were going to do with their electronics the next year. But I partnered with Riverbend Head Start for, I think, 3 weeks. It was a drive right before Christmas, and we were kind of pumping out information about getting the cell phones out of landfills and things of that nature. And they were able to, from our partnership, it wasn't a lot. It was like, I was able to donate to their organization like $70 for the amount of weight that they were able to collect out of the bins that we serviced in Edwardsville. So we look to make a lot of partnerships that way too, utilizing those bins. Yes, sir.
Is there any electronic items that you don't take?
Refrigerators, dishwashers, washing machines. Any of the big guys, we can't take them. Well, we can, it just takes up a lot of space. And over a week period, we get, I'd say, 20 to 30 TVs coming in there. And we also get a lot of computers and stuff, so we got to kind of reserve our space to house those items at this point. But those are the main ones.
What do you actually have to do with a television? I mean, you have to disassemble the whole thing?
What we were doing before, when we first started, before we actually, luckily, I got a call from another facility that's able to take those and process them. We were dismantling them. And in the dismantle process, it's almost a lost gain because you have there's this big, huge lead tube, which is 30 to 40% of the weight of the television is the lead tube that's in there. And that has to go to a lead smelter. And from that tube going to a lead smelter, the only lead smelter around here is in Herculaneum. And I think they're kind of going through some issues with their environmental problems. But hopefully they're still in operation. They have some tubes that they get rid of. It's like $10 a pound for that to go off. And then of course you got the copper, and then you have the circuit board that's in there. Almost the amount of copper that I pull out of it is just enough to get rid of the tube that's inside of it. So a lot of the guys that are busting these tubes open on the side of the street, you're seeing them, they're just taking the copper out and leaving the tube. So that's a really bad thing that I've been working with a lot of the cities around here. They've been calling and asking questions, and been trying to kind of get people educated on how to properly dispose of it. If you're going to deal with a television, or if you know of people that kind of pick up TVs, don't give it to them, kind of give it to another processor that can actually handle it. I take them, a bigger facility in Granite City, Total Metal Recycling, they take televisions. There's a few other guys that are kind of starting up, and they also will take them too. Everybody kind of has their own little avenues of getting rid of them. Mine, I have a facility in Carroll Streams, Illinois. They'll actually handle any of the material that I can't work through. I'll ship that up to them, and then they'll take care of the televisions. And they're certified as an electronic, well, e-steward, and that's an international designation for how a facility should run as far as electronic recycler, and then also how the material is handed off, and it's not handed off to a third world country or anything. It has to actually go to another processor after it gets done with it. So I've made sure I covered all my bases and who I'm actually dealing with. I don't want EPA or anybody else to get down, jump down my throat. Anybody else?
Do you have a website?
I do have a website. My website is www, of course, somrecycle.com. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm also on Twitter. I have a social networking genius that helps us out, and she does pretty much all the tweeting, all the Facebook posts, and she also does a blog on our website too. There's a lot of little helpful green tips. She did a blog about recycling records. Vinyl records. Yeah. I don't deal with vinyl records. I like iTunes. You know what it was. You know what 8-track was, 2 weeks ago. But she turned it, she can heat the bowl up and turn it into a nice little bowl and a decorative dish. She can put candy in it and all that stuff. So she puts a lot of tips up there, things that I wouldn't think about. But I guess that's why we have women, right? But yeah, I just wanted to come out and then, kind of introduce myself. I'm glad Mr. Pulaski allowed me to come out. If you guys have any more questions about kind of what I do?
Quick one on the batteries. Back when I was in grade school, we were told by our science teacher to say batteries. So I forced my family to say batteries, and we had like humongous amount of batteries. All when I was ready to get rid of them all, there was nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So now I just had to throw them all away, which was what my dad wanted to do the whole time anyway. But so if we bring batteries to you, the ones that say I just collect batteries, period, and the ones that you can't do anything with, what do you do with them? You throw them away?
With my alkaline, I've been holding them because
Okay.
they're really small,
Right.
so I can hold them in a nice little space. I'm trying to get in contact with Energizer to see if they have any avenues for like reusing those alkaline batteries. Because I can deal with all the other rechargeables. It's just those alkaline is just really hard to deal with. And, one of them going into the land.
Special container and everything else to mail them off, because we tried doing it for our club, and it was a lot just to recycle the alkaline batteries.
It is. They are. If we ship them, we have to make sure all the contacts are covered. Have to be in individual packages and all that stuff. So it's kind of a learning curve on the alkaline batteries. And also fluorescent bulbs. Nobody takes fluorescent bulbs for some reason. Home Depot, Lowe's, they take care of their own, but they don't allow the residents to be able to dispose of that. They do CFL bulbs, but they don't do the big fluorescent ones. So we've been trying to look for avenues for fluorescence and then also alkaline too. So we're constantly learning. It's a constant learning process, but I enjoy it.
So we could actually save up all the batteries, bring them to you, and you'll weed through them for us.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to overwhelm you with batteries you can't take, but
No,
I always feel like every time I throw one away, I'm like, man,
Uh-huh.
because that science teacher got me when I was in 6th grade or whatever it was.
Put a box in the bank.
There you go.
Yeah,
You would have no idea how many batteries you end up
like
with.
you said, Radio Shack does take the smaller ones,
Yeah.
and Lowe's takes stuff like even power tool batteries, but nobody likes to take the bigger ones.
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit in a little square about like that, Lowe's ain't gonna take it, so.
Any more questions? It's a fascinating subject. Like I said, I've heard your presentation before, and I really admire and respect your ingenuity for starting up this business out of something that a lot of people have been taking for granted.
Thank you.
So, anyway, recycle that stuff. Does any of this stuff end up being reused, or is it all crunched up and broken down and recycled?
Well, not all of it. At first, that was the first thing I was like, oh, well, you just take it and then crush it up and blah, blah, blah. And then I find in other facets of the industry is that you can refurbish a lot of this stuff, like cell phones. People think that, 18 months, oh, I get a new phone. Well, if you have a little bit of know-it-all about you and you like to do little projects and stuff, there is eBay, where you can get any part that you need. Say if you have an iPhone, you need the screen, you need the glass, you need a new cover. You can pretty much almost put the whole phone back together, you know, and reuse it. And there's industries that actually will use those phones. Say, take for instance the first generation iPhone. Does everybody know what an iPhone? I'm not trying to date it. Sorry. Well, with the iPhones, we found various, you know, sources and vendors that are in different countries where they use these phones for put on their networks. So something that we don't use anymore can be reused in another country. So it's pretty cool.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.